Alrighty then. Here we are. Okay, so what I was looking up is the best, long zoom cameras that I could find. And traditionally, like you can see in this large image here, you would get, if you wanted a camera with zoom for photo or video, as it was established out of like the mid 2000s, like even 2006, these started being available with video. Before that, probably too. So I'm not really looking for anything special. I'm just looking for a zoom camera in general. You have to understand. But they've kind of trimmed the market down almost everywhere and said that the old ones aren't really available. So I'm working with at least 1080p cameras here, and therein lies the problem, because I can't even get an older camera that zooms even if I wanted to. And the current camera that I have that's old, that was released in 2009, my Zacti, only does a 5x zoom. And it appears as though people have very carefully filtered the market for everything. Because what you'll have is, there's this website I went to where it says bridge cameras. And bridge cameras are just crappier DSLRs. I'm not really sure. That they're just a different category that's cheaper in money amounts. And those are cheaper than point and shoot zoom cameras, which makes no sense because they're obviously infinitely less stable. The sensor is going to work less well. They're, ridiculous in a bunch of ways. Their processing is just inferior in a myriad of different reasons, especially while moving. Worse low light, I assume, and everything. So I'll just give you an example. This is the Nikon Coolpix B500 digital camera. It comes with a 1080p recording at 30 frames a second, right? And it has a 40 times optical zoom. It says it right on the lens there. Why the fuck is this $300 when, let's see here, when was it released? We'll check down here. They always check in the product information. 2016 was what? Fuck, that was 7 years ago? I don't even know. It's the end of 2022. Are you fucking kidding me? That's unacceptable, you know what I mean? You can't be selling garbage from that long ago that was already made to be a bridge camera or whatever the fuck they call it. It's just absurd. And it's only doing a 1080p recording. So, we'll head over here. This one has a 42 times optical zoom, 720p video. And the price drop really isn't logical between the two because they don't have a lot of stuff on the market even. So the price dropped all the way to $174 from $311, which is actually kind of bizarre that they wouldn't even be selling anything in between. But it's they really just want to show off, and anybody who's listing these things, making the internet this way, they're proud of what they're doing, and they expect to be apparently beaten to death or something, because it's pretty obvious, who listed shit and who's doing things. It's not like it's not known. So this is infinitely cheaper, but still over $100, which is insane for just trying to get the world's cheapest zoom camera. This is the one that I can find that's the cheapest currently. Do you have any idea how fucking insane that is for an actual mainline, camera? Because there's these flat ones like this. This is what I was going to get into. You'd say, oh man, these flat pieces of crap, they used to, be nothing, It doesn't matter what this thing says. It's, let's see here, 1080p video, got a 25 times zoom. That zoom is infinitely inferior, and the aspect ratio of the zoom and the quality and the 3D depth of the zoom is obviously nothing. And it probably performs all of these flat devices terribly and even close to low light, in the evening if you're trying to zoom in on a deer or something to get a shot of it. I assume they're bad. But regardless, they have to be cheaper because these would be bridge cameras. They get you some of the way there, let you zoom a little bit, give you, you know, decent to no image stabilization, and that's what they're doing, but they're acting like these are more expensive. Let's see here. See buying options. $350 used. I mean, are you mad? What are you, a fucking faggot? Like, when was this released? Still 2016. Middle of 2016. It's like a 7-year-old camera. What the fuck is going on? I'm sick of seeing these goddamn prices for cameras with mediocre zooms. I mean, I can't get an old camera. That's the problem either. This has got a 25 times optical zoom. Well, there's cameras with optical zooms that aren't digital that are old camcorders, but they also claim those are valuable for no reason. Everything's valuable, but for no reason, with no reason. Because you know, for some stupid reason, like even though there's an infinite number of them and there's only a few even being listed on eBay anymore, these other places, as if somehow then they can pretend everybody didn't just get rid of them when they moved on to digital cameras like this Canon camera here, even if it was expensive, I assume. I mean, they just move on. So the image quality on those is so blurry, those old cameras. All those ones with those stupid touted, you know, 60 times zooms, like a whatever time zoom with being optical, even if they're incredibly shaky. I could at least record some birds on a camera stand or something. I could get some shots. And they're just controlling the market absolutely with an ironclad grasp of a grasp so that I can't have the option to record some hawks around me, the occasional bird, you know, like a deer that occasionally I see or something, you know, some turkeys that wander around. Yeah, in my little stupid valley, I can't even do that because they're making all these prices too high. As if only fixed lens cameras get to be priced lower. It doesn't make any sense. I have 2 fixed lens cameras, and the old one that I got is only a 5x zoom. Here's a 40x zoom. There's only one left in stock, or at least of silver, and it's $600. You could get a infinitely, I have to bring this up, better DSLR. The portability really isn't worth it. What does it do that much better? It'll say 20 megapixels, but then they almost always do 1080p. I assume this is just lying and it says it's doing 4K. But it's probably doing 1080. There's no way. At least it's a little newer. It makes sense that it could be priced a tiny bit higher, but not that much. It's still just a stupid fucking camera. I mean, $600. But bitch, why? You know? Why? This one supposedly does 4K, but it's just clean 1080, as if. It's like when the Sony lies and says it's doing 4K. So I looked at this one and I said, okay. It looks okay. It looks all right, except it's not name brand. It's Lekrin, like just random. And then I said, oh man, it says optical zoom 16 times. Well, I don't even care as long as it has a zoom. But then it says below in the description somewhere here, 16 times digital zoom and pause function. So all of that zoom is digital, and you're just pointlessly zooming on pixels. So, you know, they're willing to price this at $33. As if shitty binoculars, which is the technology you're working with, is worth anything, like just crammed into an old camera. You know how many little point-and-shoot cameras like this there used to be with a zoom that would at least record even 480p video, 360 in the early 2000s. But I can't purchase those digital cameras either, because then I'd have a zoom again, and then I'd have a zoom. It's like somebody's erroring like a retard, looping round and round multiple people. Like, we can't let people like Grant have a zoom for no reason. So moving on, the Nikon Coolpix B600 Black. No, this is an effective still resolution of 16 megapixels. So with a lot of CMOS bigger cameras like this, you have to take into account that they're always claiming it's that level, but then, you know, stabilization will take off a little bit sometimes, maybe not. But moreover, when you move it and there's too much movement on movement that it's trying to detect, its overall useful pixel definition will go down. So that's why people that used to have these old DSLR cameras, even though these are all newer, I can't even get them older than a certain year date for some reason. They're not sold fucking anywhere for any price. There's no reasonability. Nobody's selling anything old if you look it up anywhere else. They're selling it for more. So it does, yeah. 60 times optical zoom. I mean, it even has low light. Yeah, it's got a four axis hybrid VR and stereo audio. Like, you know, like that's its audio is better. It's even got built-in Wi-Fi. So like my point here is this: when you're looking through cameras, which seems more appealing, the Coolpix B600 or like a camera that's worth $600? Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, that's 220. That's like over double the price for something that's gonna have, as if, less good stabilization, probably crappier zoom. This has a 40 times zoom, for example, and this has a 60 times zoom. It's got probably better everything, even though this is claiming it's. I wouldn't trust these tiny things that they're ever doing 4K. It's just really sexy 1080, I assume. Yeah, you see my problem here. Like, I can buy a whole camera with a lens for less than something like this or this. This is still. Whoops, that's the wrong button. I don't want to add it to wish list. $300. That's still insane for what it is. I mean, like, even this camera is cheaper. It doesn't make any sense. All of these, like, you know, you have this price range for cheaper zoom lens cameras. This one included, the Coolpix right here. They're all doing like at least 40 to 60 optical zoom. Yeah, does 42. And then these do less at 25. There's no perceivable advantages. They're not as good in any way, shape, or form, but they're selling them for more. I want it to stop. Like, I'll look ahead again. I mean, this one's kind of expensive. This is $986, but you have to realize that that's closer to this one right here at $559 than it is further away from these $200, $300 cheaper DSLRs. Like, why is this being priced at the range of like an expensive DSLR? It doesn't, it's not fair. It doesn't make any sense. This one right here, low light 1-inch sensor, 20 megapixels. It's actually built up a little more. Maybe it's actually doing everything that it's saying it does, but it's almost never, because it's the same DSLR technology but smaller, going to be doing as good as these bigger cameras. I haven't done all the testing, but I seriously doubt, especially when it comes to stabilization, it's going to be anything. So you're paying $500 still here, and this is better than the other camera that like claims it's 4K over here. I doubt it. This one looks like it is more, and it's cheaper. It's not fucking that expensive. I mean, if you're gonna spend the money, you might as well get like a 65 times zoom and be paying the same price at $600, you know, nearly as this Canon camera here. It's not a price range that makes sense, and when you fail to sell something, it means it has to go down in price, not be taken off the market like I've seen so many times. Like, I want to see this camera drop in price because it's not actually worth that much, and it's old, until I can fucking use it. You know what I mean? I want it in my fucking collection so that way, because, it'd be convenient for me. It would be less painful on my spine and everything to pull this out of a pocket or a backpack than a bigger, heavy camera. But nobody cares, Like, I'm willing to spend like anyone is, which is why that's not even an equation. Only fucking people with the money are going to spend the money on those cameras with the disadvantages they have in comparison to a full-size DSLR. Like, you're never going to get a purchase from somebody like me. We're always going to say, well, I guess it's pain time. Here's, spinal pain, gotta move it around, weighs 1 billion pounds, whatever. So here's another one. It's 4K. It's supposedly Sony. These could have started getting better because I already have a DJI that's 4K, but they're just not as good. So they can never be priced at the same range. It says its effective stills resolution is 1 megapixel. So what? It's pushing 1 megapixel out the ass and claiming that it can do 4K out of it? Boy, that's some bumped up technology right there. I don't know about that. I don't know at all about that. Yeah, like this person says here, they're not even that easy to use. I'm not sure if it's just because I'm using big DSLR cameras, but this thing is too small for my long-fingered hands. Like, I got long fingers. It was uncomfortable to use, and the viewfinder was difficult to get used to. I'm very disappointed with this ease of use of the camera. Like, the one thing you want these cameras to be is easy to use, but it's not. See, here's the best review right here again. Like, not the best for zoom photos, it says right up there. Like, of course, absolutely not worth $600 in 2009. Absolutely not probably worth $400 right now. I'm beginning to be proven right by the descriptions I'm reading. These are like point and shoots. They're to get quick zooms. Like, you hopefully get 4K when you're, zooming in and there's gently flowing water in like a stream and not much moving, like the trees around, like some deer that's drinking out of something. But that's not going to happen on a regular day when you're kind of moving around a little bit and it's auto-stabilizing. Yeah, right. So here's another camera. This is still $796. I've seen these type of shorter little Zeus Sony cameras and things, and other ones Canon, sold for 700 even. It makes no sense. You're selling them for the price of a full-size camera. I mean, this one claims the Panasonic Lumix, even though everybody knows Panasonic makes TVs. That they're just inverting their TV software, so whatever technology they use for pixels for their screen is their sensor. So they have problems. I've already seen people talk about them, I believe. So, but they do get the shot. So even this is way better. I mean, it'll give you something to the equivalency of 18 megapixels when you're holding really still, I assume, at like 60x zoom. So this is better than those cameras. It's not making any sense. And it's got an entire, it says here, like, bundle. Yeah, it's got a bunch of shit with it in this kit. It's got like a flash, extra battery, lens covers, like for filtering different things a little bit, a case. I mean, what the fuck? It's got a camera stand. You're getting probably a better deal than buying one of those tiny cameras. I mean, even this has a Panasonic camera, has better zoom and better control over your zoom. It's got little knobs on the side. Many more settings, I assume, as well. And all of these are like $300 to $200, while the other cameras are always trying to push above that just because they're what, a tiny bit more compact. Nobody cares. Yeah, this one also has a 40x optical zoom. It's just the same thing. So, like I was saying, where's the zoom cameras? If anything, you should release at least 1080 at 30 zoom cameras. Like, you know, oh, where's your bridge camera? How gay you gonna get? You know, like, you don't have a market category for somebody who just wants zoom with a decent definition, because you're trying to fuck over those people, and I am those people. Just like, where's the market that replaced the CCD sensor cameras that had zoom in them already, that should be cheap now, for night vision? Like, they all have terrible night vision on top of terrible night vision, and everything on Amazon's a scam, and every other website when it comes to infrared. I mean, I'll take UV infrared too. I don't care the spectrum. I'll take sound wave infrared. Magnetic LiDAR that, you know, is infrared or something. I don't give a shit. Just get me a better goddamn camera. Because I'm sick of working with 5x zooms. I guess